Do our first round of headlines, and then we'll take some phone calls, and then do our second round. Come on.
Get it going.
Hey, John Boy.
All right, I'm going to transition us over to the news screen. Oof. And I do have some dirty droid robot news. And
droids are filthy.
They're horrible, filthy creatures, and it's getting even more crazy with the robots and the news and everything like that. So this first headline that I have is titled "Sex Robot Addiction." Sex robot addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Clinics brace for humans hooked on cyborg-like problem drinkers.
I'm ready.
So they're already anticipating that this is going to be a new addiction. People addicted to having sex with their robots. And I'll play this clip right here of this person.
Because within your relationship with your wife,
who's on the other side of the studio,
here, you incorporate her into your lovemaking. She's part of it.
Yes, I think it's...
That's paraphilia, isn't it? We're talking paraphilia here. We're talking a particular sexual fetish. That's not actually what we consider normal spectrum.
What's normal
exactly? No, I disagree with that, because I don't know, if you're not harming anybody, if you're not doing anybody any harm, where does normal start and end?
Where does normal start when it comes to robot addiction? So
sex addiction.
Yeah. What is normal when it comes? I think what is normal when it comes to sex in general. So the creation of artificially intelligent sex robots that resemble humans has provoked a heated debate about the social and health consequences. Meanwhile, the market for talking and moving robots made for sexual pleasure is on the rise, with makers from across the world selling them for thousands of pounds or dollars if you're in the U.S. Mm-hmm. The implication discussed by experts and their capabilities or in their capacity to induce sex, to induce addiction to sex. So they're
makes it easier.
So although cyborgs might not necessarily increase sex addiction, this doctor said they serve the same purpose as alcohol for people with drinking issues.
Oh yeah.
It would be.
I can tell you about that.
Yeah. This is we've talked about this quite a bit, so I'll read just the rest of this. It would be just another way of expressing sexual activity or addiction, says Dr. Burchard, author of Overcoming Sexual Addiction, a self-help guide. Sex addiction is a way to anesthetize hard to bear feeling states. That's an interesting statement.
Hard to bear feeling states.
Feeling states. I'm in a feeling state.
Yeah. I mean, shouldn't you be in that state all the time? If you're not, then you're probably drinking too much.
So these robots are going to anesthetize those feeling states. These include, but not limited to, loneliness, shame, boredom, and stress. I feel all those things when I do this podcast.
Feeling states, are those like Confederate states?
I guess so. Actually, those might be California is a feeling state.
That would definitely be true. Vermont,
New York,
Washington,
New York State. That's a feeling state as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these people. I mean, the robots that they're making right now, they don't look that good. I mean, it's essentially they're putting some latex over a toaster and people want to fuck it. I
want it. Well, so I wonder if are they heated? Like the holes, whatever the holes are, like do they? You know what I mean? Like, because it would feel very cold, I would imagine.
I would assume
and unnatural.
I'm assuming that they are going to have some sort of heating coil, much like a toaster.
Really hot.
Yeah. Much like a toaster.
I want that. I ain't got no business with it, but I want
it. You just pull the lever down and you're ready to rock.
Yeah, pop. It's warm. It's warm enough. I guess it's time to enter. But I don't understand. I'm assuming, and I might be totally off on this, but this is a totally guys want this, and I don't see women really getting into the cyborg sex bot thing. So
maybe I'm sure there's going to be plenty out there. It's just like there's no women in gaming. There'll be enough.
Yeah, I think at some point, I don't know if you can wrap your shirt around the microphone, Joe, because we're getting like a lot of wind hitting it, and I'm surprised. This is my major complaint with these earbuds is that they don't have a wind filter on these things, and I'm surprised Apple hasn't taken care of that.
Has it gotten any better? So I'm trying to shield from it.
Yeah, that's actually way better. Okay. Why don't they have built-in wind filters to these microphones? So
they could put one of those little furry wraps, like how they have like the furry microphone covers.
Like on booms, yeah.
Yeah, like on a boom mic. That wouldn't look awkward.
No, I'm walking around with like some rabbit skin on my shoulder.
It's a little chinchilla tail or something.
And so I have this other sex article right here. I just got 3, and then we'll move on to some other news. But this one is entitled "Dirty Droid: Sex Robot Makers Blasted Over Sick Family-Friendly Love Dolls That Steal Husbands and Scar Kids."
F your family.
That's what the robots are being told to do.
Yeah, a sex robot with a family mode that dials down her dirty talk has been blasted as profoundly damaging for kids by academics. I agree. This is insane that you have just a household robot slave that not only can be used and abused sexually, but also does the dishes. This seems like this is only going to enable the division in the genders already, and people realizing they don't have to form real relationships with people in order for them to have some sort of connection. You're just going to hop on Twitter and be a troll, then you're going to go home and fuck your robot and not form any genuine connections with real people? This is only going to split up. This is going to split the human species. It really is.
Yeah, and I think it's by design. I wish I'd have read the book, The Technocratic Society or whatever, by Brzezinski, Mika's dad. He's the guy who wrote about like all the New World Order stuff and kind of planned a lot of this stuff out. But you have to imagine that this is kind of by design. They know what they're going to get when they do this. And when you look at social media generally, you've got Facebook is pushing people apart, unfriending people, destroying relationships and families and so forth. And it's like, yeah, well, I got the sex robot still, so you can all screw off.
Yeah, I don't need you in order to go about my day. I don't need these other humans or people I don't want to communicate with or have problems with, because I can just live my own virtual life online and then with my robot sex partner. I don't need to figure out how to navigate difficult social interactions. It is almost like what's going on online now is like, if you voted for this person, therefore you're not my friend, kind of thing. Or if it's the same kind of binary logic that is only going to create conflict.
But it'll go great with the robots who will probably only understand binary logic.
Ah, hey, I love that. Right. Good observation there.
Hey, I got one right.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm glad you saved that.
Yeah. So, sex robot enthusiast Aaron Lee Wright, 36, appeared on...
Wait. There's such a thing as a sex robot enthusiast?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, good. Just double checking.
I don't know if that's a position or if it's that some kind of corporation.
Can you put it on your LinkedIn profile or something?
Sex robot enthusiast Aaron Lee Wright, 36, appeared on ITV's This Morning with his Samantha doll shortly after they went on sale and caused alarm by suggesting he lets it play with his kids. Admitting that people have slammed the bot as strange and for perverts, the dad admitted My wife has always been supportive. Oh my God. In particular, he praised the doll's so-called family mode that stops her from spotting off kinky lines like, I can take many more times, much more love just because you give it and I take it all.
So what about dysfunctional family mode? Is there that?
That's right.
That would be a good one, where the robot starts drinking.
Yeah, and becomes an abusive alcoholic and tosses the cat around the house.
I would love a sex robot with that function.
Actually, I have some of the. So these are some of the lines that the sex robot is programmed with, and it has things like this.
But I hope you leave enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it into your pussy.
Fuck you, asshole.
Let me kiss your mother.
I think these are very sensitive.
But I hope you leave enough room for my cock because I'm going to ram it into your pussy.
These things sound very high tech.
Yeah, very high tech, and I hope they're not all programmed with Schwarzenegger's voice. That'd be very weird.
Especially if they look like women.
I would like to fuck your mother behind.
Who wouldn't? Get in line, dude.
Right. The sex robot enthusiast, right, revealed that his children, aged 3 and 5, play with Samantha, the sex doll, and watch TV alongside her. And his wife said, I am not worried she will replace me. She is just someone. They're much like a family member. She's referring to it as someone and not something.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even consider that like a disagreeable house cat. You know, I'd just be like, go away.
Hey, I'm going to take the toaster over on the couch and watch TV with it.
Finger the toaster for a while.
I want it!
I'm just going to take the robot toaster in the bedroom. Come on. I'm just going to do what I got to do, and then I'm going to watch some Seinfeld with this toaster.
Don't do it. I beg you. I beg you.
This is absolutely ridiculous because we read a story, I would say about a year and a half ago, and this is titled Europe's Robot Would Become Electronic Persons. And I have this up on the screen. So this actually speaks to robot rights. And this person in the previous article is already referring to this sex doll as a person. And so when these robots, these sex dolls, start to get a little bit more personality, they start to emulate a human personality a little bit more, you can't help but to attribute personhood to that thing. We already treat our dogs like they're part of the family. It's the next logical step that you're going to start treating the sex doll, aka whatever it is in your house that watches TV with your kids, as a part of the family as well too.
Yeah, my parents treat their pets better than they treated us kids.
It's I mean, you walk around the street and you'll see people like dressing up their dogs. Sometimes dogs are in baby strollers. And so what we're gonna see these robots walking around, and you know that these robots are, when they go home, they're being used and abused and punished.
They're making toast all night, baby.
Yeah.
That's right. Are we forgetting already?
No, sir.
We have a memory problem?
No, sir.
Nope. That scratch disc is not full.
So when it comes to Europe's electronic persons draft, this was in 2016. We read it. It has been, I believe, voted into a committee at this point. So, what is the rest of the world where automation is rolling out without restriction? Chinese corporations will shit themselves laughing at this, as 10,000 human workers are being replaced by robots. And so what this legislation in the EU could do is, as you roll in these robot automation workers, whether it's a sex doll or not is immaterial, but something that takes over human jobs, they want to declare these new robot workers, whether it's a sex worker or assembly line, as electronic persons and tax those electronic persons in order to provide a universal basic income to these displaced workers.
Right. Well, yeah, and we talked about this on the show a long time ago, and all I see it ending up is with, and then the robots are going to demand human rights or like equal rights, and then they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders. It's going to be terrible because then the robots are going to not work because they're going to go, hey, we demand housing and food and healthcare for free. And by the way, we don't want jobs. So sorry, Bernie Sanders fans. I know there's some, but I mean, where does it end? Where does it end with this crap?
It gets into a weird spot where are these robots? Will these sex robots that are obviously that we just read that are being brought into the home, being treated as a someone and part of the family, and then couple that with the EU's electronic persons that will be taxed? Will these robots at some point in time have enough rights to assert themselves? If they're being taxed, will they have a right to vote at some point in time? I'm talking maybe 15, 20 years down the line. It'd be like taxing a horse, you know. I mean, for argument's sake, it could be like it's like taxing a workhorse or one that pulls a carriage around. It's like, well, it's the guy who runs the carriage. He gets taxed. The horse is just the mechanism by which he, but he's taking the horse. He cares for the horse. He pays the taxes. And so ultimately, it's like the guy who owns the robots should be accountable for this stuff. And that's what it will. You're right. I think in the early stages, but as these robots develop more of a personality and whatever kind of self autonomy, I could see these robots, these AI,
Medicare for all, free college.
They're going to
free upgrades.
I think that it's going to be no taxation without representation kind of situation for these goddamn robots out there.
Look out, people! It's coming.
Yeah, I think it could be. We could be getting into a very weird spot. This is what Elon Musk is warning about, and a lot of other futurists. When there's no regulation around this stuff, and you already want attribute some sort of personhood, or these people, almost call them these robots, are going to be treated as people and brought into the family as some kind of sex toaster. I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, just the combination of words, sex toaster, is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will open up the phone lines here right now, and we will move on to some other stories, and we'll be happy to talk to you guys.
Mostly happy.
Mostly happy.
That's right.
Well, it's
Jack
Saturday.
it hard,
We'll be happy.
hate them, and spit on them while you do it.
That's right.
Do all that.
We're going to be doing all that stuff.
I feel sorry for your mother.
I do feel sorry for the mother in that previous story when she has to share her husband with the family toaster. That's ridiculous. I know that they're probably like these robots are not going to be calling a sex toaster, and there's going to be some sort of social justice robot language going on in the future. But until that day, I'm going to call them toasters, sex toasters.